Yeah, man. What did you think of Deadpool and Wolverine? Is that the actual title? Is it Deadpool and Wolverine?
So it's Deadpool and Wolverine is the actual title, not Deadpool 3, not Wolverine and Deadpool, Deadpool and Wolverine. So just to just to our listeners, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, get that out of the way right now. We're gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
reviewing the movie and our take on it. We're gonna be all over the place. You know, it is something that we do. This is a podcast and we just talk. So,
We're gonna miss things too.
oh,
I don't know why for
bro,
some people always have to like mention, oh, you missed this, dude. Yeah, we're gonna miss things, bro. Like I only seen it once. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna miss some shit, bro. It is what it
when
is.
you go see it?
Friday afternoon.
Friday. Yeah, I went and saw it Thursday afternoon,
Mhm.
and it was a packed house. It was a
I
packed
mean,
house,
I'm not surprised, bro.
bro.
One of my
It,
coworkers went as well. He went Thursday afternoon.
but the community for that is pretty big here.
Mm-hmm.
But also, after we're done talking, we'll get into another announcement because I've been following the Comic Con stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We
We'll definitely have some stuff.
Here's another announcement we got to get into. But let's
Yeah.
get into this Deadpool and Wolverine, man. Let's do
Mm.
this, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. 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 What's your overall thoughts? Let's start it off with that.
Overall thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay, so for this one, this is not your mom's MCU. This is a completely different, in your face ending of Fox, beginning of Deadpool's time in the MCU. A lot of jokes, a lot of actions. We finally get to see Wolverine and Deadpool team up after 3 movies. We finally get to see it happen. So my initial take was this was filled with just so much good, just things from old Fox and kind of combination of the multiverse and MCU. I enjoyed it a lot. I laughed a lot. The cameos, we're gonna get into that later. The cameos,
Oh God. Yeah.
they took me by surprise. I knew a couple that was gonna be in there, but the
Mm-hmm.
cameos, they kept me on my toes. I enjoyed all the references. I saw a lot of Easter eggs in there. So for that, that pretty much is my original reaction. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. How about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I went into it. I tried to limit anything other than the trailers. I didn't watch any other videos, read articles. I just the trailers and that's it. So I went into it blind. I kind of, from watching the trailers, I kind of had some guesses of who would be in the film. Sorry. As far as cameo wise, I had an idea of a couple of the characters that are going to be there. There were some surprises. The
Yep.
movie was definitely hilarious. I thought it was pretty funny. Definitely the most violent MCU film of date. To date, I mean. And yeah, I think overall it's just a great movie. My wife really enjoyed it. My only issue was, and this is like I'm breaking away, dude. There were a bunch of kids in when I went, and I don't mind kids obviously being in the theater, but I wouldn't. It was like a 4 or 5 year old girl there sitting right next to me that was afraid. I'm like, why would your parents bring you here? Well, she kept
Yeah, for
covering her face
movies
and
like
stuff.
this, there's gonna be like mixed crowds. You know some of these parents they don't care. There's gonna be mixed crowds. There's gonna be a lot of different generations in these type of movies because you, from what we've got in the past, you know, the MCU is kind of like, you know, kind of like lighthearted, heroic, but now we're going in a different direction. So it wouldn't surprise me if like little kids would have been in this one.
Like we had a bunch. They're showing a bunch, and it was like I can understand like if you're like maybe 9, 10, up there, but this young girl had to be 4, 5 at the oldest, and she's watching this blood and stuff. I just think it's wrong. That's just my opinion. But other than that, man, it was a good experience. It was a great time. I do want to see it again. I don't know when that's going to be, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. It's good to see Deadpool in the MCU. It's good to have see Wolverine even in the MCU, even though we didn't really see a lot of characters from the MCU
Mm-hmm.
in the movie. I think this is just the beginning of what it can be. I'm sure they'll keep Wolverine, this version of Hugh Jackman's version of Wolverine, to at least Secret Wars before they try to change him, or
Yeah.
recast him, or whoever, or whatever they're going to do with him. But yeah, this movie was great. A lot of cameos, a lot of Easter eggs, and just fun. It's all over the place, but it's fun.
Well, let's talk about it. So to me, this was Deadpool killing off Marvel Fox and moving into the MCU, and this is the best way they could have done it, using Deadpool, because Ryan Reynolds, he's the perfect actor for Deadpool. He was meant for this role,
Yeah,
and
he
not to
was.
mention he's been in other of these projects, other these Fox projects. So he's kind of the front runner and so because he started off in Blade, then
Mm-hmm.
he was in X-Men Wolverine Origins. So
Mm-hmm.
he was
Mm-hmm.
in that. He was Deadpool in that one, but
Mm-hmm.
that version of him was kind of
Yeah, that was
kind of not
silly.
that kind of not the best. But then they brought him back and they used him as the Deadpool that we have now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been so good since they brought
Yeah.
him back, and I'm glad they let him get that role because he wanted that role.
Yeah.
But
He was a
but
fan. He was a fan of Deadpool, like in the
oh
comics. He didn't
yeah.
read a lot of comics, but he gravitated towards this character.
Well, he's part of the writing and creative process, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why and for the director, he works so well with him. That's why he was kind of attracted to doing this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the beginning was really interesting because people were wondering how will they bring Logan back or bring
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine back without ruining the legacy that he had or the ending that he had. Because I rewatched Logan the night before. I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine, and the ending was perfect, bro. That movie was a masterpiece. I'm not gonna lie, it's a very, very good movie. It's one of the best comic book movies I think ever made, and the ending was like perfect. But Deadpool said immediately he was like, never mind. We're gonna ruin this. Dug him up. That's crazy. That was crazy to me, bro.
But I don't see that as disrespectful. I see that as
Yeah,
kind of
no,
like
no.
they had to. You knew there was going to be lighthearted. You knew it was going to be a lot of jokes, and you knew that they were going to have to do something to kind of get them to like watch it, to understand it, to view it. So
Yeah.
starting with that, I thought that was actually pretty funny and pretty good.
Yeah,
As a
it's
matter
just
of
funny
fact,
because I'm sorry, the interview he had it when they first put out that they're making this movie. In the interview he
hmm
said they're not gonna touch the ending of Logan. That's what made it funny because
yeah,
the first thing they did was just the ending of Logan.
no, you're right, you're right. But no, I was just thinking, like, how like we had a conversation last week about how Hugh Jackman and Robert Downey Jr. how those actors are so synonymous with their characters, Wolverine and Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now you got to put Ryan Reynolds in that, close to that, at least close to that tier as far as him being synonymous with Deadpool.
In my
Like
opinion,
he
he may
was
not
made for that
be
role.
yeah, he may not be in that tier yet, but he
Yeah.
absolutely is perfectly casted for the character.
Oh yeah.
There's no
It, it
doubt.
it's
Like,
kind of like for me, you can't tell where the actor begins and the character ends. Like
mhm,
he just fits he just fits so well with like basically his personality, and especially with his personality and Hugh Jackman's personality, they
mhm,
really brought out a lot of stuff. Like you could tell like the chemistry, like
mhm.
it just made it so perfect for this movie.
The funny thing about Hugh Jackman and then Logan, like the character he plays, is Hugh Jackman seems like the nicest guy in the world.
He probably is, to be honest.
And then
He's
he
very
moves him.
talented. He probably
Yeah,
is.
he has range, and I think we'll probably get into that. I think his character, it was Deadpool's movie, but I think his character like was the best character in the movie as of like character development, growth,
Yeah.
and like following the character. Deadpool is going to be Deadpool. There's no real growth in Deadpool. He's Deadpool. He's an anti-hero. He'll do good. He'll do bad. He'll mess up. He'll lie. He'll cheat. But he's Deadpool. Wolverine is an interesting character because he can in some instances he's a very honorable character, but in some instances he can be an anti-hero. He can come off as a villain at times. So I think Hugh Jackman able to play so many different versions of that character
hmm
and still make it feel like Wolverine is very special.
I agree with that. Also, what I'm finding out is Kevin Feige, I believe he doesn't have intentions in recasting Hugh Jackman.
Not for now, at
So,
least. Yeah, not for
well, yeah,
now.
not for now. Yeah, because I feel like this movie's gonna have so much success that you really won't be able to. Like
Yeah,
it's just gonna feel weird trying to put someone else in that position. And
yeah.
now that they gave him the yellow suit, something that we've been waiting for 20 years, well over 20 years. Now that they gave him the yellow suit, had a fight scene with him wearing the mask, and basically going all out as this version of Wolverine, this super action-packed version of Wolverine with all this violence and basically all of his combo moves and everything like that. I feel like it's gonna be hard to follow that up. So why not just keep him in the mix and keep him going?
I feel like it's ultimately going to be up to Hugh Jackman. Think we'll get at least 2 to 3 more movies with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, because he's going to be in Secret Wars. He might pop up in one of the X-Men movies. He might pop up in but I seriously think they're going to consider going younger, longevity, because Wolverine's going to be one of them characters that's going to have to help carry the MCU. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised either way if they really keep Hugh Jackman until he's 90 years old. I wouldn't be surprised if they casted the character or made a new iteration of the character after Secret Wars when they reboot the MCU. I wouldn't be surprised either. So I don't know what they're going to do. I wouldn't be surprised either way.
The possibilities are endless. Yeah. I mean, there's so much they could do with it, but as for now, I mean, keeping him is the best move they could do. Like, yeah,
they're going to,
especially after this, keeping him is the best thing they can do.
Yeah, he's going to be in at least 2 or 3 more movies.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
What'd you think? What'd you think about these cameos, man?
The cameos were actually great. Some surprising. The funny one was I knew that Chris Evans wasn't going to be Steve Rogers, and I knew that wasn't him. Why the hell was Steve Rogers being avoided? He's like the perfect person. So I figured it was going to be Johnny Storm. Plus, he looked a lot younger, and his hair was a lot longer.
And he wasn't
usually as Captain America.
Wasn't as buff as he usually is.
Yeah. So, but it was dope seeing him as Johnny Storm, because that's a classic character, man. It was good. It was some nostalgia back. Even though those movies weren't the best, it was still cool to see him play the character again.
He did a good job as Johnny Storm. Like some of those cameos, they didn't surprise me as much as they surprised like the crowd. Like when I went to go see it, like the crowd was surprised by a lot of what was going on, but I already knew like Jennifer Garner was going to be in there. I know she was going to do a role as Elektra. Daphne Keane. I mean, we saw the trailer. We already knew she was going to be in there. I love the 2 that caught me by surprise were Wesley Snipes and then obviously Channing Tatum.
The Wesley Snipes was surprising, but then again, it wasn't to me because he already done a movie with Ryan Reynolds, and he was Ryan Reynolds was in Blade. So it was man, maybe he just called him and was like, man, can you come do this? But yeah, it was dope to see him. And Gambit was pretty cool too. I'm not gonna lie, they finally allowed him to do it. But I think it's gonna be like John Krasinski was as Mr. Fantastic. This is probably the only time we see him as Gambit. I think they're gonna go younger.
That was gonna die with Fox. I already knew that. I mean, it was just me personally. That's my favorite X-Men character, Gambit, and I also like Channing Tatum as an actor. So, and I was thinking about it the other day. I was thinking, man, they really killed that project, and I really would have liked to see it because, like we saw in the movie, he did a really good job. He was able to do the accent. He was able to have good action-packed scenes with the character. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad we got to see it before Fox got killed off, or Marvel's Fox got killed off. I'm glad we got to finally see him actually do that role. So no, I enjoyed it.
I wish we could have seen Johnny Storm actually team up with the guys and fight, but it makes sense because Pyro, he absorbs fire. He can't create fire, so it makes sense that it made sense that he was absorb all the fire from Johnny Storm. But my obviously, my favorite cameo was probably Gambit, but I do love X-23 as a character, and I hope the MCU just brings her on. Keep her as X-23.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna keep her. Like,
she's young, she's talented, and she's iconic at this point. Like her performance in Logan at her age, I rewatched the movie, bro. It's an iconic performance, bro. Like she killed that role, bro.
She made it a lot better. She helped push the story along. I mean, and if there's anyone that Wolverine could pass the mantle to, it's definitely Daphne King. Yeah, as X-23. So we'll get to see. I'm pretty sure that's why at the end of the movie, they bring her back. They bring her at the end where you see them all together hanging out in the house. because they could use that as like opening for more possibilities using her character.
Yeah, they brought them back to their original. I mean, they brought them back to Deadpool's original universe. So technically, the movie is in the MCU, but those characters aren't in the 616 universe. So I'm still wondering how they're gonna. Well, since these characters are now aware of the multiverse, which I think Deadpool was already aware, but since they introduced it in this movie, I'm sure Deadpool Wolverine will be recruited for Secret Wars. Because technically they settled down. So I think at the end of Secret Wars, I think all these universes are going to combine, collapse, and but
bring all the characters together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because right now I don't think. Well, now there are mutants in the MCU, but the X-Men technically were not in the MCU, so they don't exist in MCU. Although mutants do, the actual X-Men don't. As of now, they could obviously go back and change it, but I think a good way to go into it, I mean, to transition everyone into the MCU or everyone to the same universe is going to have to combine their timelines or whatever. How they're ever going to do it, but I'm sure they can easily make it happen.
Yeah, they'd have to combine the universes in order for it to make sense. Because I know they've made some announcements on what they're going to do in the future, and like it's kind of like stuff like what you're saying. That's kind of like the direction that they have to go in order to have the storylines make sense, to just combine everything. But I trust their creative direction after this, and after some of the trailers we've seen for other projects. I trust the direction they're going.
This movie is a prime example of where DC's failed, or where DC failed. Kevin Feige gave them they basically the thumbs up to do what they wanted to do to make the movie good. As long, he said, if you make jokes, just make them funny. If you're gonna make scenes that aren't typical that for the MCU, just make it good. And I think this is a prime example of letting the creatives create, giving them freedom. You get movies like this. When the studios try to take control all the time, you get movies like Justice League. So I'm not going to rant on Justice League again, but I just wanted to point that out. This is a perfect example of a product you get when you let the creators create.
Absolutely. Like instead of worrying about like run times to put it in theaters, more to get a cash grab, just let them do what they're supposed to do. Let them have fun. Let them make it make sense. Let them essentially let the story create itself, and you can't go wrong.
Yeah. What did you think of the different Wolverines?
Honestly, so when I saw the very first Wolverine when Deadpool ran into, when he was basically using the little time machine from the TVA, I thought, that's honestly the actual accurate comic book version of Wolverine, because he's supposed to be short.
He's 5'3", yeah.
He's supposed to be really jacked, but he's supposed to be short. I like when they brought in Henry Cavill's version of Wolverine.
He looked good, and I think
he looked diesel.
No Diddy, whatever the kids say nowadays. But
he looked diesel.
He looked great, and that I wouldn't be surprised if they move forward with Henry Cavill as Wolverine after the Secret War.
And what's funny too? I like how Deadpool references like, see, this is what happens when you let the Marvel take care of you, instead of like those guys down the street talking about DC. And I was like, because there were so many references to like the DC, MCU, everything like that. And Deadpool, how like he breaks the fourth wall, so he'll keep attacking like different studios and things of that nature. But no, I enjoyed all the cameos as far as like the different versions of Wolverine. But this version of Wolverine, you kind of get the sense that he's trying to go through some redemption, trying to figure out where he went wrong and try to like avenge those who were fallen.
Yeah, that's a fact. What'd you think about the Wolverine fighting the Hulk, bro? I would have loved to see them actually fight for a second, even if it was just like 10 seconds.
No, that I got hyped after that. I want to feel like they're gonna move towards something like an actual Wolverine towards the Hulk. Like, I don't know if it's like a rumor or if I was like reading something wrong, but I feel like they're gonna eventually have something like that. Not like a movie, but some type of like project.
You have to, because now like Mark Ruffalo's version of the Hulk is kind of like Smart Hulk. I can't see fighting Wolverine. It has to be Hulk before he became Smart Hulk. And I would love to see that, bro. I don't know. Well, they'll make it happen. They'll figure it out.
How'd you feel about the fight scenes?
The fight scenes are dope. I've never had a problem with any fight scenes in any Deadpool movie. They're all good to me.
The very
personally.
first fight scene against him versus like those TVA like people.
Mm-hmm. That shit was crazy, man.
Fucking them up left and right. They didn't have a chance.
Yeah. He's a mercenary for a reason, bro.
Boy.
when he was talking shit about Canada and he bounced his sword off the ground, that shit was crazy,
went through his skull.
Good God, bro. The little girl sitting next to me covered her face and was scared after that.
You know, it was also a good fight scene when the Deadpool Corps came out.
Oh, yeah. Dude, they're silly because the one Deadpool variant couldn't heal. That doesn't mean the rest of them can't. They went through all that just for them to start like getting up and like, shit. Yeah, bro, that shit was funny.
Because they thought because of the other, like you said, the other Deadpool variant, you thought that they couldn't heal just because he couldn't,
and they did him dirty, bro.
Just let him get shot up. Also, everyone liked the little dog pool. They liked him.
Yeah, she's always been a
or her.
Yeah, she was the real life version of that dog. Was voted the ugliest dog in the United Kingdom. That's
really?
So mean.
I didn't know that.
Who makes a contest for the ugliest dog? That's so mean. That's like, do we do pageants for ugliest human? Like,
we should.
Bro. Oh, I mean,
there's some people that would definitely win if we did that.
You make some money. Yeah.
I mean, I know some folks.
Yeah, beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
That's funny.
What did you think of the Cassandra Nova?
OP. I mean, I was like, how are you gonna fight her if she's just out here ripping people's skin off?
She's exactly what Charles could have been if he was evil, and he would have been worse because he'd have had to touch you. She has to touch you.
Here's the thing that I was confused. Why is she bald?
I don't know.
I know this may not have anything to do with it, but why was she bald?
I have no idea. I actually don't. Like, maybe it's something in the comics that we
missed.
Because I don't think I just said his name. Professor X, I don't think he's always bald. I mean, unless that's a thing. Let me see.
I just thought he was bald because of something to do with his I don't know, mutant abilities. I don't know, I may be wrong, but
because he wasn't bald when he was younger. Well, at least in the movies they didn't have a bald.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't care that she was bald. I was just curious. I was like, what? Why does she have to be bald like him? Like, he's bald for different reasons, but I wonder where. And the thing is, they started in the movie. They said she basically started her life in the void.
Yeah,
like they just sent her to the void because of her powers.
Yeah, and her brother tried to kill her in the womb, tried to strangle her.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right.
So supposedly Professor X goes bald due to the psychic powers. Maybe that's why. So maybe that's why she's bald. But it just goes to show how powerful Charles could be, or is, if he wanted to be evil. Because I don't think she's anywhere near the strength of him, and he doesn't have to touch you. She has to physically touch you for her powers to really, to read your mind, to get in your mind. But no, what she did to Johnny Storm was crazy.
That was funny though.
I was like, what the?
She messed him up. She ended his career, but yeah, no, that was funny. Yeah, you just get to see how like OP she is. Like the fact that if she had gotten what she wanted, she could have really just destroyed all the times.
That easy.
Ended everything.
All that shit Loki worked hard to fight for would have just been gone.
Yep.
And it took him 2 seasons.
You know what the funny thing is? What's up? And this is kind of off track, but there's a version of Thanos that actually does that. But not just his universe, that just stabs the universe, but like all of them.
Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And the only person that like survived it was he was in the last Guardians of the Galaxy. Adam Warlock. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's the only person that survived it.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if they're ever gonna
whole different version comic.
I wonder if they're ever gonna do Deadpool kills Marvel. Like, remember he killed everyone?
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, I think about how powerful some of the people he killed were. Like, but yeah, she was very OP. I kind of like, there were parts of me that kind of felt bad for her because she was just thrown there as a kid. I get why she is the way she is. I mean, shit, I'd be mad too. But Yeah, she was an interesting villain.
You know, it's a scene that I wish would have lasted longer. The fight between Wolverine and Sabretooth. I wish that would have been just a little bit longer.
It would have lasted like 3 seconds. Like,
yeah,
he ended him immediately, bro. That boy came back just to get his head chopped off. It's nuts, bro.
he looked like the Headless Horseman, man.
That shit was crazy.
That was kind of fast.
Yeah,
he didn't even get to move off, man.
Yeah. What did you think of the fight in the van?
That was probably one of the best fights I've ever seen. and the thing is, I was like, man, they're fighting a lot, but that was probably solo like one of the best fights I've ever watched, like in any comic book movie ever. Like they were just going at each other like relentlessly.
Yeah. Yeah. And how it started was crazy because they really hurt each other's feelings, and then Deadpool was just like, you know what? I'm gonna fight you now. And Wolverine says you're gonna what? Got popped, bro. When somebody says they're gonna fight me, I'm not gonna ask them the question. I'm gonna put my guard up. Like I'm taking that threat seriously, bro.
I know this is just a movie nerd in me, but I like when they were like fighting in the van, and I know it was like Deadpool. It was like either one of them getting hit up against like the radio. A song came on from another movie that Hugh Jackman sang. Actually,
oh yeah,
yeah,
that was funny.
I just thought that was like, well, look at that Easter egg.
Yeah, that was definitely on purpose. That's funny enough.
But no, that was a good fight scene.
Yeah, it was. And then I figured if they never put her in the trailer, I wouldn't have thought that was Laura or X-23 that got in the car and got in the van and drove them. But since she was in the trailer, I was like, man, that's got to be her. And like the funny thing is, when I was watching Logan, I realized like she was driving as a kid too, just driving around. It's crazy.
Yeah, actually, I think it was. Did you see like the when she brought him to like that temple? Did you see the what is that? WandaVision, or like not WandaVision? Basically, Wanda, the statue of Wanda's character.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, like as soon so you'll see like an overhead camera view, and you'll see like Wanda. Yeah,
I didn't see that.
When it's basically like right over that corridor when they come through the threshold. Like you'll see like Wanda in that temple or whatever. That's why I thought it was interesting. Like,
yeah, that's a good catch. That is a good catch.
I think it was kind of like alluding to the multiverse, maybe.
Yeah, probably. And then, I guess the end fight was pretty cool. Seeing, given those characters, I'm glad X-23 didn't die, but giving like Blade and Elektra a good way to go out, because they didn't really get a real ending to their characters. Their movie just kind of stopped. So it was good to give them an ending and open the door for new characters. Although there is another Elektra. She was in the Netflix version of the Marvel, and then Wesley Snipes saying there's only ever been one Blade and there only ever will be one. I'm like, man, it's taking shots, bro. We got another Blade in the works right now, brother.
It's in the works, but it's not. And I don't know how true it is, but oh boy, I think he may be stepping away from it.
Maybe I wouldn't be surprised.
Might be. I don't know, but
he would be the perfect. What is it, Mahash Ali, whatever his name is.
Mahershala Ali, yeah.
He's
a very good actor, by the way.
Very good actor. That would suck, man, because I would love to see him as Blade. Is what it is.
Another movie nerd in me just think that like in the beginning where Deadpool's talking to Happy.
Mm-hmm.
I was just realizing, I was like, Jon Favreau was in the Daredevil movie.
Yeah,
he was. I don't know the character's name. I guess.
Yeah,
he was his friend or whatever.
I know his name. Hold on, Foggy. Is it Foggy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that is. Let me verify for people. I know you're wrong.
Like I just thought that was like he's in this movie too, but Daredevil wasn't Fox, was it? Daredevil was Sony, wasn't it?
No, it was Fox.
Oh, it was Fox?
Daredevil and Elektra were Fox, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Daredevil, Elektra, and Blade. So they sold the rights to X-Men, all the characters of X-Men, Daredevil, Elektra, Blade, and I think the Fantastic Four to Fox, and they sold Spider-Man and all his rights to Sony. Yeah.
Okay.
Foggy Nelson. So yeah, this is
Foggy Nelson.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. And then weren't Ben Affleck What the Jennifer Gardner?
Jennifer Gardner. They were married.
They were married, and they took a little. She took a little shot in the movie. That's funny as hell, man. When
Yeah.
they said Daredevil died, because Daredevil, one of my favorite characters, bro. And I was like, they said Daredevil died trying to defeat her. I'm like, no, fuck, like
he was actually on set for the filming of the movie, but it's just because their daughter was there too. Kind of just like support.
Gotcha.
Just a side note, and this has nothing to do with anything. Jennifer Gardner's daughter is her twin. Like
they look just alike.
Oh my god! Like Ben Affleck's Gene did not even try with that kid. That is her twin. Like if they ever needed her to remake any of Jennifer Gardner's movie, they already have the perfect person.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Her name is Violet Affleck.
But,
they do look alike.
But no, I really enjoyed the cameos, the fight scenes, all the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything else that like stood out before we get into the little announcement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me see. I took a little notes. We already talked about the cameo.
This is just okay. Something I just want to say before we just wrap up everything and we get into more questions. For the casual moviegoers going to see this film, you might want to brush up on some of the X-Men stuff, Deadpool stuff, other MCU movies. Because if you go and if you don't understand what's going on, you can't be mad. You can't say you can't not enjoy the movie and you can't complain about it. Because apparently that's what's been happening. They've been complaining about it because they haven't been understanding what's going on in the movie. I'm thinking, well, you kind of have to brush up on other things in order to, you can't just go in to watch this blindly and just not understand like, okay, well, this is where we're at.
Yeah. I just saw some huge news that came out, and that's probably what you were referring to. But yeah, dude, like if you cannot complain if you have not like invested or your time or seen these movies. Obviously, it's still personally, I think it's still a good standalone movie. But it's kind of like you can't sit there and complain if you haven't been following this stuff. Why would you go see it? Well, I guess they could complain because the first two Deadpools had nothing to do with any of the stuff. So, but if you only been watching the Deadpool movies, that would make sense. But like, yeah. So if casual fans complaining, I mean, I get it because if you only watch the first two Deadpool movies, this movie's like all over the place for you. But there's a reason for that. I'm sure if you watch the Deadpool movies, you somewhat follow or watch the MCU movies. So that's your problem. But they have
to go back and watch like the older stuff.
Yeah.
Well, even if you start from like, I guess like Wolverine, like the first Wolverine solo movie, you start from there, I think you'd be fine. Wolverine, Logan, you'd be cool. The other stuff, I mean, you can kind of get like the gist of where they're going. You don't have to like sit through all those movies and watch them all. And like, you definitely have to watch Deadpool, though. You'll be lost if you don't.
Yeah, Logan. Really, the only movies I think you really absolutely have to watch will be Logan, the first two Deadpools, and maybe Loki.
Yeah. But then you have to sit through a whole series then.
Yeah, 2 seasons of it too. But I mean, the TVA role was big, but it wasn't to the point where like it will ruin the movie because that was the main plot. I mean, a lot of it, like the TVA, they were a major part of the movie, but they weren't in the movie enough to where I'll be like, man, what the fuck is going on?
Well, you have to understand everything. I think for the full experience, that's gonna like make the most sense. You have to watch it all. I hate to say it, but you kind of have to watch everything. Because there's too many it's all over the place. There's too many Easter eggs. There's too much of everything. It's too much of MCU. It's too much of Fox's Marvel. It's Deadpool, Wolverine, all that stuff. It's too much of it. Just if you want to fully enjoy it and understand everywhere where they're trying to go, you kind of have to just bite the bullet and do your homework.
Yeah, but like I said, like if you're complaining, that's idiotic because you clearly understand that. Well, some people may not know that Disney bought Fox. Some people may not know that they're bringing these characters to the same place as the MCU. Some people might genuinely don't know that. There are probably some older fans that just like watching superhero movies. So I get it. But to complain about it is like kind of stupid.
Well, those people, we just call them cavemen. Because where the fuck have they been? There's no way. You wouldn't know this by now. Especially, and here's another thing that's really been impressive to me. This press tour, like Hugh Jackman and Reynolds on this press tour, this has been impressive. Like this has been they every time I pop up on my phone, I guess it's just my algorithm, but those two are doing something to promote this movie, whether it's like a red carpet event. They were on Hot Ones. You remember the show Hot Ones?
Yeah,
With
I
Hot
haven't
Ones?
saved. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah.
They were on that one. They were on the chicken shop date thing. They were on like basically like some of like at the soccer game. They were doing that. They were doing like a bunch of other press run stuff. I'm like, man, they have been everywhere to promote this movie.
If I was getting paid millions of dollars, I'd be there too. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I'm not missing nothing.
He's gonna get a big. They're gonna both get a significant amount of money.
Yeah. So I mean, shit. I'll be there too. You know, it's just normal business to them. But yeah, they did honestly, a good job promoting the movie, man.
This is probably the best movie to come out during Comic-Con time, like the week of Comic-Con. It's probably the best.
Yeah, I don't know of a lot of movies that come out around this time.
Yeah, because they're just too busy like doing the announcements, announcing future projects.
Yeah,
no. And they actually had Ryan Reynolds at Comic. I don't know if you saw the when he brought up people that we didn't know who were we weren't fully in the know about who were going to be in the movie. So he brought up Daphne Keane, he brought up Channing Tatum, Wesley Snipes, Jennifer Garner. He brought up all those actors, kind of like playing Chris Evans, to show them that they're going to be in the movie.
Yeah, but overall, man, the movie was great, bro. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people didn't like it. It's definitely the best Deadpool movie in my opinion. How can it not be? But yeah, everything was good. The final battle was pretty dope. You know, with Cassandra Nova, with all the 100 Deadpools, with Deadpool and Wolverine risking their lives to save the world, save the universe, save the multiverse. And it's pretty amazing. It was kind of sad. It shows the growth in the characters. That Deadpool or Wade was going to let Logan think he was going to be the one to do it. Then he pushed him out the way and said he was going to be the one to do it, to sacrifice himself. It kind of reminds me of Captain America and Iron Man. Well, Iron Man, when Cap told Iron Man he wouldn't be the one to lay it all down on the line. And in that very same movie, Iron Man was the one to sacrifice himself to get rid of the missile that was going to blow up New York City or Manhattan or whatnot. And then he was ultimately the one to sacrifice himself to stop Thanos. And that kind of reminds me of this because the entire Wolverine looked at Deadpool as an idiot. He called him a fucking idiot through the entire movie. And I was quoting Wolverine. I just wasn't saying fucking idiot. That's what he was calling him. But
he really at the beginning, man, he really did not like that guy, and those two really didn't get along. Because I mean, think about it. Deadpool is just a silly dude, just flying by the seat of his pants, just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And Wolverine is this serious, strong character, strong-minded, strong-willed person who just wants to rip your face off if you piss him off. Yeah, and when Deadpool finds this version of, he's super drunk, he's kind of down in the dumps,
he wants to die.
Yeah, man, because of what happened. Because of what happened to his team, what happened to the X-Men. He felt like that was his fault. He felt like he should have been there to protect his people.
He should have been there with them at least. If they're going to die, I should have been there with them. Or if I could have did something about it. So yeah, they said it's the worst version of Wolverine. But like X-23 said, or Laura, you're always like this. But you always do the right thing. Every version of you.
Yeah, she said you were always the wrong guy until you weren't. Which kind of like makes me want to think, is this like the original X-Men version of Wolverine?
That was Logan.
No. I'm saying.
Okay, well, let me. So what do you?
So the original movie the original X-Men movie that came out, like the first three.
Yeah, that I think that version of Wolverine is Logan, the one in Logan.
Oh, okay, so that's the old guy who I guess dies or whatever. And this is just a completely different version.
Completely different Wolverine.
Okay.
So the Wolverine. So Deadpool takes place in the same universe as all the X-Men movies. Like that character is in that same universe. So that version of Wolverine, his version of Wolverine died because he was the anchor character. for that universe. So yeah, it does get a little iffy because the original Wolverine from the first couple of movies, because of Days of Future Past, kind of throws everything out of a loop. But mentally, the Wolverine in the first 3 movies is the same Wolverine that dies in Logan.
Okay.
But I could confirm.
No, yeah, that it does get, yeah, especially when you have all of these movies and all these projects, like it kind of gets confusing. Like I feel, isn't this like the 9th project, like X-Men related project that Hugh Jackman's been in, like Marvel or something? He was in the first 3 X-Men, then Wolverine, the Wolverine, and then Logan, so that's 6. And then he was in Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
He was in X-Men First Class. He was in that
briefly, yeah. Let me see.
I feel like he was in something else too. I feel like it's at least 8 or 9 he's been in. Yeah, because I know he wasn't. That man, he came nowhere near Dark Phoenix. I know that for.
Oh yeah, no. Well, he was in the first Dark Phoenix.
He was in Apocalypse. That's right. But he was in it briefly. But he was in it enough to do like.
He basically was in every X-Men movie. Come out, bro. That's great.
He was in Dark Phoenix briefly. Was he?
Not the newer Dark Phoenix. Remember Jean Grey had like the original 3.
Oh, they had it. Trilogy. That's right.
Yeah, he killed her. He killed Jean. He had to see. She told him to kill her. She told him to.
But that doesn't make it. That's a really weird loop now.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. But I'm pretty sure it's
because
the same
she was Dark Phoenix in obviously Dark Phoenix, but then she was Dark Phoenix in the last to that X-Men trilogy, wasn't she?
Yeah, the last movie she was Dark Phoenix.
It doesn't make any sense now because he's in that. He's in that universe though.
Days of Future Past mixed everything up. So that the before he goes back in time, right?
Yeah.
Before they put his mind in the younger version of Wolverine back in time.
Himself, yeah.
So his mind is the same Wolverine. It's a different body. He's in his younger body, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. No, I remember that part. It's just I wouldn't know why that would, change things. But I guess because of him doing that and changing things in the timeline would have, made certain changes.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure. That's a good question. I'm pretty sure it's the same one that died in Logan. The original, our Wolverine that we grew up with is the one that died.
Logan. Because that's the same Professor X.
Yeah. And Professor X died in Dark Phoenix? The original one, the first one? That's
the first, yeah. I remember he tears him up. She basically does what Cassandra Nova did to Johnny Storm. She basically tore his ass up.
Yeah. So yeah, I got confirmation. So the Logan that died in the movie Logan, Wolverine that died in Logan, is the original Wolverine we grew up with in the original trilogy.
Okay.
The same Logan. Yeah. So his character completely he originally died. This one is from a different random universe.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing which makes this is gonna make Wolverine the most unique situation because he's not really part of the sacred time.
No, not even known to the X-Men. What part of the sacred timeline?
Sacred timeline. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like now we have so many different versions of just him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he's the only character that really in the MCU that we have all these different versions of. I can think of. I might be wrong.
Different versions. We just haven't explored it. Like
different versions that have stuck.
Yeah,
that are just.
We just haven't.
This is the main. Not like in Loki. There's variants.
Yeah. So technically, yeah, he is a variant. So your different version of yourself is a variant. So there was an Iron Man. So remember in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, when he got sucked into another universe, where the Scarlet Witch her kids were still alive. That was a different universe. His variant died in that universe, and Tony Stark died in that universe. In that universe. So Logan, the different Logans we've seen. When they were going back and when Deadpool was going back and forth, those are variants of Wolverine.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
No, I got what you're saying. Yeah, I knew some of that stuff.
Yeah,
it's just like I'm just trying to.
It's a lot, bro.
I'm trying to figure out for him because now that we're going in, we bringing him into the MCU, and there were different versions of him that they're kind of explaining now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? and that he died. Now he's back, and everything's everywhere.
Yeah, and don't forget, and we'll talk about this a little later. Don't forget, your variant can come back as a different character. Like there was a variant of Doctor Doom that is dead, where Deadpool became Doctor Doom. So your variant can be a different character. It can be the same person but a different character, if that makes sense. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. Like, yeah. I'm not even want to keep thinking about it. It's a lot. It's a lot, bro.
I mean, you could really go down the rabbit hole with this one.
Yeah.